Yo guys, right now we have new limited merch over on Teespring, and I just revamped my Patreon with some brand new perks, early thumbnail access, as well as a surprise charm every month. Also, I stream Best Team for Radical Red right here. Sub the Zora for Best Team for Radical Red Let's Play, episode 1's up by the way. Sage, anime. Follow me on my socials, especially Insta and TikTok. I'm getting really active out there. You may even get subtle hints for videos and cute pet photos. All these will be in the description below and in the iCard above. Alright everyone, put your dukes up, because it's time to continue the Top 10 Strongest series. As you know, we're going to be picking a fight with a fighting typing today, and see what the best of the best are in this top 10. Just as a reminder, for the next few weeks after, I'll be taking the final typings and bringing this series to a conclusion, so I hope you guys are ready for plenty of top 10 action. Fighting types are known for being physically dominant with some bulk. We've got a list today that I think really brings out those qualities, and while there are some legendaries, it's not as heavy with them as the electric type list. But that being said, let's waste no more time and hop right into the ring. I feel that these fighting types we have here today represent some of the best of the typing, and I really hope you guys see that. Let's get things started here with the 10th spot, and a trip to Unova. Conkeldurr is leading us off, and while it's in fact a slow Pokemon with 45 base speed due to carrying a bunch of concrete around, it definitely is a fair trade-off. After all, it can be slow, but it does have 140 attack. The reality is that Conkeldurr is a physical machine able to hit ridiculously hard while boasting 105 base HP and 95 defense, along with attack submits too. Conkeldurr rocks out with a trio of awesome abilities, those being Guts, Iron Fist, and Sheer Force. Talk about options. With Guts, you could throw a Flame Orb on Conkeldurr and get a boost to the power of your moves instead of having your attack stat cut up from the burn. If you choose to use Iron Fist, you can use some punching moves like Ice, Fire, Thunder Punch, or a nice priority move like Mach Punch, or for healing, go Drain Punch. As for Sheer Force, quite possibly, it's the best of all the options. You can slap a Life Orb on Conkeldurr, and then moves like the Elemental Punches, Poison Jab, Bulldoze, and Rock Slide. There's a great stab option, like Power Up Punch, which is made to be quite strong by Sheer Force, and the Life Orb Strength Boost. However, if we look at other moves without thinking about abilities, there's Earthquake in close combat along with Stone Edge, offering tons of power, along with good coverage for a bunch of different threats. All in all, the true power of Conkeldurr lies not in its 140 base attack, but instead the way you choose to use its abilities. Ah yeah. Following up Conkeldurr, we've got a personal favorite Kalos Pokemon of mine, the Luchador, Hawlucha. The 118 base speed of Hawlucha is probably one of the faster stats we'll be talking about today, and that speed is something it puts to use an awful lot in battle. The opponent wouldn't even be able to slow it down, since the Limber ability prevents Hawlucha from being paralyzed. However, its other ability, Unburden, might be the one you want to use more often. Unburden will double Hawlucha's speed when its held item is used, meaning you can throw anything from a Grassy Seed to a White Herb. It's got Mold Breaker for a hidden ability, which is obviously great. However, Hawlucha just doesn't have the moves to take advantage of that. Its attack stat is base 92, and that's the best thing it's got aside from the good speed. Those taking advantage of an item like Grassy Seed along with Unburden helps give it better defense and route to giving it dominant speed. So when we take a look at moves, Hawlucha has access to Acrobatics, which would be great even if you have the Grassy Seed going into battle, since you'll end up not holding it after too long. Brave Bird is incredibly strong too, though you'll have to deal with the recoil damage from using it. Let's not forget about the Press either, as that move counts as both a flying and fighting type move with 100 base power. It's pretty good all things considered, and is definitely a nice signature move for Hawlucha. If you want setup, there's Swords Dance and Bulk Up, which will make moves like Close Combat, Drain Punch, and Iron Head all the better. Just like with Conkeldurr, there is a lot of strategy that can go into Hawlucha that makes it an even better Pokemon that it is. We're going to talk about a pretty popular Pokemon right now, the Aura Guardian itself, Lucario. Just about everyone loves Lucario, and with good reason. It's a fun Pokemon with a nice design and a cool steel fighting typing. Its stats are very solid, showing 115 special attack and 110 attack, making it a clear mixed attacker with a little advantage on the special end. Its speed is pretty decent too, at base 90, meaning it can assert its dominance quickly against certain Pokemon. Lucario doesn't exactly have the best abilities, with Justified just being too far circumstantial, and really Inner Focus and Steadfast pertaining to flinching isn't exactly great either. Though Steadfast at least can reward you if someone does happen to flinch your Lucario out, so I guess it isn't the worst thing ever. As for moves, Lucario's got access to stuff like Aura Sphere, Focus Blast, and Flash Cannon for stab on the special side, and Meteor Mash, Close Combat, and Drain Punch on the physical end. There's some priority too with Bullet Punch, which is the bane of many fairy types' existence. As for coverage moves, Lucario's got moves like Bulldoze, Ice and Thunder Punch, as well as Shadow Ball and Psychic. You can also teach it Bulk Up, Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, or Swords Dance for setup, whichever works best for the kind of Lucario you want to run. There are a ton of options for how you use it offensively, but defensively is where Lucario is held back to this spot on the list. It's got very little bulk, and it'll pay for that. You won't get to enjoy that great attack for long when you're knocked out so easily, and that is what makes this Lucario's ceiling. It's time to get legendary, and we're going to do that with one of the top bug Pokemon, UBO2 Absorption. For those of you that don't follow the Ultra Beast lore, you probably know this Jack Bro as Buzzwole. So, as I'm sure you guys already know, Buzzwole isn't exactly the best on the special side of things. It's not like that is also surprising. It has those massive muscles and whatnot, so clearly it should be taking advantage of them with physical moves. Much like with Heracross, it has to deal with that massive weakness to flying types. But aside from that, it still makes out with 139 base attack and defense, and base 79 speed, which isn't good, but could always be worse. It's also got a bit of bulk with 109 base HP, so really there is potential here to avoid taking too much horrible physical damage. Truth be told, with Beast Boost in play, you could even end up letting your defense be your highest stat, and thus constantly boost it with every knockout Buzzwole achieves. We couldn't possibly talk about Buzzwole without discussing the awesome moves it has in its move pool. It's pretty clear it has access to some of the best moves of its stab typing, including Close Combat, Power Up Punch, Drain Punch, Leech Life, and Lunge. Though, of course, that's not all there is to it, because Buzzwole has access to all other major coverage moves that many Pokemon were lucky enough to get their hands on this generation. We're talking the Elemental Punches, with the exception of Fire Punch, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Outrage, Iron Head. There is some more, of course, but man, Buzzwole just has such a diverse move pool that offers several viable moveset options in battle. Buzzwole is a king of brute force. The only problem is that it just suffers a lot from poor special defenses and not great speed, and that is enough to leave it back here at number 7. Though, I guess it makes sense for such a strongman Pokemon to only be good at dishing out hits and not really taking them. Alright now, you guys might not believe this, but Keldeo is actually pretty good. So good in fact, that it's right here outside the top 5 and ahead of Buzzwole. I'd go as far as to say the only bad thing about Keldeo is its ability Justified, due to just how circumstantial it is. However, a peek at its stats reveals 129 base special attack and 108 speed, along with a pair of 90 base defenses. This is the first time we're talking about a truly special attacking Pokemon. Keldeo has nearly 60 more base points in special attack than physical, and it'll make pretty good usage of that high stat line. When we look at the moves Keldeo has, we see many great special attacking water moves, like Hydro Pump, Surf, and Scald. Any of those serve as a nice option to make use of Water Stab. But we're talking about fighting types now, so we've got to take a look at Secret Sword, a special attacking move which serves as Keldeo's signature move. It hits for physical damage despite using Keldeo's special attack stat, making it a nice option that can really be used to take out Pokemon that will special attackers. There's also Taunt and Calm Mind that can be used to either cripple other Pokemon or set up Keldeo further. And if you're feeling brave, you can use Flip Turn on Keldeo too, just for the sake of having a pivot out of battle. Like I said, Keldeo is probably better than people give it credit for. And you may disagree with me, which is fine. Starting out the second half of our list, we have the first of 2 starter Pokemon that'll be checking in on this list, and it's the Fire-type Pokemon from Sinnoh, the much respected Infernape. It is the best starter available in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and quite frankly, it's one of the best starter options, period. Infernape has got base 104 attack and special attack, and 108 base speed, and it really does prove with those stats that something almost basic can still be incredibly special. Infernape is incredibly balanced, with its HP being at 76 and defenses at 71 each. Well, thanks to the great speed and attack, it can work right around its poor bulk. Might also be worth mentioning that Infernape is the only Pokemon on this list not available in Sword and Shield. So, you know, this is just another thing you can look back on when you realize I totally confirmed Gen 8 Remix. I can't wait for Steel Sword and Bronze Shield. Let's not forget about the very solid hidden ability that Infernape has as well, Iron Fist. It increases the power of punching moves by 20%, and Infernape has access to several, like Thunder, Fire Punch, Mach Punch, and of course Power Up Punch. It's almost a shame it doesn't have access to Drain Punch, because if it did, it might have earned itself a higher spot on the list. Despite that though, it's got access to other fantastic moves, like Close Combat, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. There is just such a wide move pool here, and Infernape is able to take advantage of it in a number of different ways. I'd go as far to say the number one thing that Infernape has working against it is its poor defenses, and if it didn't have the issues it does, it might have been a little bit higher. But it'll need to settle for being right at the start of the top 5 this time. Here at number 4, we have another legendary Pokemon, this one being the face of the Isle of Armor DLC for Sword and Shield, Urshifu. This bear is like Ursaring's badass cousin that can kick some serious ass. It has 2 different forms, one being its single strike form, with the other being the rapid strike form. It's a duo of different fighting styles. And honestly, if this doesn't sell you on this thing, being a top fighting Pokemon, I don't know what would. I mean, Tyrogue had to evolve into 3 different Pokemon just to achieve multiple different masteries of fighting. Meanwhile, Urshifu just has to climb a tower as a Kubfu, and boom, it's a master of a fighting style. I guess it is sort of similar, but what sets Kubfu and Urshifu aside from Tyrogue and its evolutions is a stat layout. Urshifu has base 130 attack, which is very good, and its speed is 97 as well. So we've got a somewhat speedy and quite strong physical attacker, and with base 100 HP and defense, it has got some bulk to back up its attacking prowess. Now, you're going to either have an Urshifu that's Dark type or Water type, depending on the form you pick. And if you're interested in having less weaknesses, I'd say go with the Single Strike form, which is the Dark type one. Its only times for weak to Fairy types, though the Rapid Strike form has 7 resistances, so it all depends on what you find more important. As for moves, the signatures for these 2 forms are Surging Strikes and Wicked Blow, each being automatic critical hits, and former hits 3 times with 1 usage. Those are 2 great stab moves depending on the form, but if you want moves that carry over between the 2, there's Close Combat, Iron Head, Bulk Up, and Zen Headbutt, which provide nice coverage and a way to set up already great stats. I think it's also worth noting its ability Unseen Fist, which pretty much allows it to hit a Pokemon for damage even if they're using Protect. All in all, Urshifu is a really good Pokemon, and very deserving of being on this top 10. Well, we talked about a bug fighting Ultra Beast already, so how about we talk about another one? This time, Pheromosa. This beautiful bug has got 151 base speed and 137 in both attack stats, meaning it's going to outspeed just about anything and then hit them like a Mack truck. Now, it doesn't have much to talk about as it has 37 base in both defenses, which is absolutely disgusting. And that 71 base HP instills little to no confidence that this thing could ever have the ability to take a hit. Thankfully, for Pheromosa though, it's so fast and strong that it should be capable of one-hitting any Pokemon before it gets a chance of actually taking it out. It's definitely something you could place in the glass cannon category, but I'd make the argument that it's more like some sort of glass nuclear bomb. It's just so insanely good while being frail. When we take a look at its move pool, you could perhaps find yourself very pulled in by Quiver Dance. You'd be making Pheromosa stronger and faster, which is of course great, and you'd even get a very slight bump in special defense. Though, honestly, there are so few opportunities to actually use Quiver Dance, since Pheromosa can't take a hit, so I wouldn't get too infatuated. It's got the usual moves you'd expect to see, like Close Combat, along with a ton of coverage moves on the special side. But I would like to highlight Triple Axle as an awesome move it has access to, which covers against flying types. All in all, Pheromosa is a tremendous Pokemon for both of its typings, and even then, number 3 is the highest I could put it. So, it used to be that our penultimate Pokemon would be considered the best, but things have changed. Blaziken is still, I think, the best starter of all time, even without being able to Mega Evolve anymore. It was still banned at one point for being too good, and even in its base form, it can still run Speed Boost and set up with a move like Swords Dance, as it has 120 base attack and 110 special attack too, if you want to try to do something with that. The important thing here is that it's still going to get a boost to its speed at the end of each turn, so eventually, you'll be able to outspeed everything as you hit hard with moves like Close Combat and Flare Blitz. Though, if you did try to work on the special side of things, you've got Flamethrower and Focus Blast, which will both hit very hard. There really isn't a lot left to say, other than it's no longer the best fighting type, which can be seen as a little bit sad, as it changes a dynamic we've been so used to for the past 2 generations now. But considering what outclassed it, I think we can all understand why this is a reality. So, what's the one Pokemon that is ahead of Blaziken in the fighting type world? Well, you don't have to look any further than the box art of Pokemon Shield, as there you'll find Zamazenta, the best fighting type. A pretty big theme on this list to this point has been strong Pokemon that don't take hits well. And that is simply not the case for Zamazenta. It's pretty impressive what this behemoth has got stat-wise. 130 base attack with 115 defenses and a blistering 138 speed. Its defenses are some of the best on the list so far, which you'd hope considering it's a giant shield. However, it gets even better. That's right, if you give it the rusted shield to hold, it turns into its crowned shield form, and suddenly it has 145 defenses, losing just 10 points in speed in doing so. So it remains strong, it remains fast, and it now has the ability to take just about any hit. Speaking of ability, Zamazenta's is Dauntless Shield, which raises its defense by a stage every time it switches into battle. So yeah, it'll solidify itself even more as a physical wall. Now, before turning into the Crown Shield form, Zamazenta is only a fighting type, though when it transforms, it gains the Steel typing, and that means it is opened up to more stab options. Its signature move is Behemoth Bash, which is essentially a transformation of the move Iron Head. It's got 100 base power, and that power doubles to 200 if you use the move on a Dynamax Pokemon. There's other moves included on Zamazenta as well, like Close Combat, Play Rough, Crunch, and the Elemental Fangs. There is honestly a myriad of coverage available to Zamazenta to handle its short list of weaknesses. And that's what goes into making Zamazenta the best of the fighting types, dethroning the longtime holder of this title, Blaziken. Well, that's going to do it for another typing top 10. We stepped into the ring and went 10 rounds with the best of the fighting type. And I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty good after that. What a freaking workout. Do you guys think we got this list right though? I know you guys always have an opinion to share, so make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below. Next week, we tackle the penultimate typing, the water type. We're almost through this series, so let's get hyped up. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream all sorts of games from Pokemon to Fire Emblem to Zelda and much more. I also have an anime channel called MysticSage where I do anime reviews, rankings, and countdowns. So if you're interested in that kind of content, go ahead and check that out as well. If you want to support me even further and gain cool perks, check out my Patreon. These lovely people have all given me their support over there and I couldn't be more grateful to them. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.